tour. My name's Catherine. I'm going to be your tour guide for the next 15-20 minutes. If you can't hear me because I'm doing this, please tell me. I also, when I get excited, I speak really quickly, and I think planes are really exciting. So if I'm speaking too quickly and you can't understand, let me know. So we're about to head off. Something to note, firstly, just remain seated the whole time. We might also have to stop and start a bit. That's because the airport is still operational, so when we cross the runways, we need to ask the tower permission before we do so. Now, a bit of a background for Canberra Airport. Canberra Airport's a privately owned airport. It was purchased from the government in 1998 by Capital Airport Group, which is headed by Canberra businessman Terry Snow. We're actually celebrating 20 years almost to the day. When Terry and the family purchased the airport from the government back in the 90s, it was a fairly run-down facility. The terminal alone had 48 floor levels. It had just been built and kind of added to that many times. If anyone remembers flying into Canberra Airport, you know that that building is very, very different. So the terminal, as you can see today, I think it was, my note here says $480 million investment, I think. Yes. It was opened in 2014 by then Prime Minister Tony Abbott. It's actually a completely different terminal to what was there before, although interestingly we never actually closed the terminal. So we built the first half, opened that up, and then removed the old terminal and built the second half. So it's always been operational, but every square inch of that terminal is brand new. So I think we might be waiting for one of the aerobatic displays. It looked like one of the warbirds was up in the air. So yeah, we'll have to wait here until they've done their display. Just good because we get to watch it. Right, if we look out of the right-hand window, you can see the aerobatic display coming through. Alright, we're off. So we're about to, once we go around this corner, we're going to go onto the RPT, or Regular Public Transport Apron, and that's where all of the airline services from Canberra Airport operate from. So we've got 6 airlines that currently service Canberra Airport. They're Qantas and Qantas's regional partner Qantas Link, Virgin Australia, low-cost carrier Tiger Air, regional airline Fly Pelican. They do flights to Newcastle and to Dubbo, and our international carriers, Singapore Airlines, who started the first international services in 2016, and are actually beginning a daily service to Singapore on the 1st of May. And our latest airline, which is Qatar Airways, you can see their very large plane, I'm pretty sure it's still out there. So they offer a daily service to Doha, and they started in February of this year. Now you see aircraft of all shapes and sizes on the apron, plus obviously over on the static displays as well. Probably the most common aircraft you'll see is a Boeing 737, and both Qantas and Virgin operate 737-800s. And you can see a 737 from both airlines over there in the static display. The Qantas ones are one of my favourite aircraft that comes into Canberra. That's one of the retro roos, so it's painted in a livery that's from, I think, the late 60s. And you can actually see the old Qantas logo, which is the flying kangaroo back when it still had wings. So you can go on board both of those aircraft and just take a bit of a look around. Now the smaller aircraft that you'll see on the apron are our turboprop planes. So those are the ones with the 2 propellers on the sides. Virgin operate an ATR 72 and Qantas Link operate a Dash 8 300. You can see the Dash 8 300 over there on the left as well, between the 2 737s. Another aircraft that you'll see on the airport is the Tiger Air. Tiger Air usually operate an Airbus A320. They look pretty similar to a 737. The way I tell the difference, and I'm sure there's a few av geeks out there who'll tell me off for this because it's not particularly technical, but the noses. So the 737 has a more like a longer, more elegant nose, and the Airbus has a kind of squished, almost cute nose. So that's how I can tell the difference. As I said, it's probably technical reasons, like one's an Airbus and one's a Boeing. Now, the smallest plane that you'll see on the apron is the Jetstream 32, which is what Fly Pelican operate. Again, going on noses, they have a really long pointed nose, which I really like because it looks like a pelican's beak. From the smallest to the largest. The largest is a Boeing 777. That's what Qatar is. They're a Boeing 777-300. Singapore currently operates a -200. The difference is the length. So the 300 has a longer fuselage. Singapore will be moving to a 300 on the 1st of May as well, which is exciting because they'll have all 4 classes. So they'll have first class, business class, premium economy and economy class. I'm assuming we're waiting to cross over the taxiway, so there's possibly... Oh, okay. Well, that's exciting. We get to see it take off. In fact, look like we're about to follow a 777 along the taxiway. So I think that we were waiting for the Virgin. You can see there's a Virgin ATR that's just taxiing at the moment, so I think we were waiting for that to land, and then the Tiger Airbus A320, which is over on the left as well, has just landed. And you're going to get a pretty good tour because Qatar's about to take off, so we'll get to see a whole lot of different aircraft. That means there's a bit of a wait, but it does mean you get a very good view of the 777. Be off and racing now, and this is on. This is good. So we're about to leave the RPT apron and go on to taxiway Charlie. The taxiways are the links between the apron and the runways. So they're each named after a different letter of the phonetic alphabet, which is like our buses. So we've got Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. This is so that the control tower can easily distinguish between the taxiways without any confusion. So imagine if you had taxiway Bob and taxiway Rob, it would be kind of hard to tell which one had which plate on it. So that's why we use the phonetic alphabet. Now coming up in a sec, in fact we're going to stop again. So we're about to cross our main runway, which is runway 1735. There's a car in front of the bus, and they're the ones who keep stopping and starting. They're in communication with the control tower. So we have to ask permission from the tower to cross the runway. I would suggest that Qatar is about to take off, so I might take a seat and let you guys watch it. Sort of an everyday view of a 777 taking off there. But that is why we have to ask the tower permission before we cross the runway, because those guys use it. So our main runway is 3,283 metres, so well over 3 kilometres long. It's 45 metres wide with another 15 metres of asphalt shoulders. And a few years ago we completed a 600 metre extension of the runway, and also significantly strengthened the pavement to allow for unlimited operations by Boeing 747s. So those are the jumbo jets, the one with the kind of knobbly head. And with this work, the runway can take all types of aircraft. So yes, an A380 can land at Canberra Airport. We get that question a bit. Wow. Now, does anyone know how runways are named? I'm sure there'll be a few. Yep. Well, so runways are named between 1 and 36, and they're actually named according to their orientation. So if you think a compass has 360 degrees, knock off the 0. Our runway faces almost north and slightly to the west, which is why 350 degrees, so runway 35. Of course, they have two names because you can take off on land on a runway usually in both directions. So if we go 350 degrees minus 180 degrees, we get 170. So that's why we have runway 1735. You might have also noticed when we were going across the runway, I always thought that they would be really smooth. Runways actually have rivets in them, and that's so that the water doesn't pool and you don't have planes aquaplaning them. So good. Now we're coming up to the airport fire station. Canberra Airport has 3 fire tenders, and they're designed to be all-weather vehicles to travel quickly and deliver huge amounts of water and fire-retardant foam in a very short time. Aircraft accidents are such that a short response time is required. To give you an idea, civil aviation safety regulations mandate that the airport fire station is positioned such that the fire vehicles can attend any part of the airport within 2 minutes of the alarm being raised. Within 3 minutes of the alarm being raised, 90% of aircraft fire is designed to be extinguished, which gives you an idea of the sheer power of those vehicles. Things are about to get a little bit rough because we're going to go around the perimeter fence. So while we go around the fence, can you see those sort of orange balls that are on the different fence lines? I found this out on Friday. The orange balls are so that helicopters can see the fence. Imagine if you're in a helicopter, it's kind of hard to see a metal line, so that stops them from landing on it, which would obviously be something that we don't want. The other interesting thing that you'll see on the perimeter fence is there's a few gates that have wooden slats on them. Those are crash gates, and they're designed so that the fire vehicles can get out of the airfield as quickly as possible. There's one we just passed, drive up and leave. The reason for that is that they're the first responders for the community around the airport as well, so for everyone in the business parks, the shopping centre. The other thing that you can see on your left is a Qantas maintenance hangar. I've been telling everyone they do maintenance for the Dash 8s. That's not true. They do maintenance for the 717s, which is another jet. It's smaller than the 737. And I think there's 3 of them in there at the moment that you can see. Now coming up on our right, we can see the Fairburn aircraft parking apron. It used to be part of the Royal Australian Air Force Fairburn military base, but the whole area is now under the control of Canberra Airport. But as we'll soon see, part of the apron is actually still leased by the Air Force, which means please don't take any photographs of that hangar that you can see over there. You can see from here 3 heritage hangars that front the apron. Given their historical significance, these hangars have been restored, modern facilities, but still have the same facades. Now on the far side of the apron is the area that's still leased by RAF, and that's for their special purpose aircraft, or their SPA fleet of aircraft. The SPA fleet are what transport the Prime Minister and the Governor General on their official business. So there are 2 types of aircraft used for transporting VIPs. There's a Boeing business jet, or BBJ, which is essentially a Boeing 737, and some smaller Bombardier Challenger business jets, which there were a few there earlier this morning, so I think we'll still be able to see them. This area is also where VIP movements, such as foreign prime ministers and presidents, arrive and disembark their aircraft. So you'll see sometimes at Canberra Airport, and if you follow hashtag Canberra Airport and hashtag FlyCBR, is where the plane spotters will put up their photos, and you can see some of the different planes that we had coming into Canberra Airport. We get some really cool ones that come in if you're into planes, which, as I said, I am. So interestingly, I know that it looks like just an airport hangar, but there is a luxurious VIP suite within the hangar itself. Now, as we turn the corner, you can see our control tower. Our control tower is where all the planes on the ground in Canberra and the air immediately around the airport are controlled from. So the surrounding airspace is actually controlled from Melbourne. Just as we go here, you can see the green line for the guys on the right, and across the green line is where RAF leases. So the tower that you can see is 13.7 metres high and was built in 1972. It replaces a smaller, lower tower, which you can still see from the same building.
Remember we went here in the school. That's a control tower. That's a control tower. I'm trying to go there. I want to have a couple Yes, that looks so cool.
So as we head down Taxiway Delta, you can see the Majura Park Shopping Centre, which contains the largest Woolworths in Canberra, Aldi, Big W, and over 30 specialty shops. It's also surrounded by Costco, IKEA, and with Bunnings opening later this year. So Canberra Airport also controls the business parks, so Majura Park Shopping Centre, the Brindabella Business Parks, and Fairburn. So while we cross our main runway, can any of the kids on the bus find my kangaroos for me?
One there.
I should be able to see some kangaroos.
Please.
They're just sort of in front of us. So they're not real kangaroos. Obviously, kangaroos and airports don't mix particularly well. Those kangaroos, we once had them be called corroboos. They're actually made of corrugated iron. They're about 3 metres tall, and they're one of the many statues that we have at Canberra Airport. They're one of my favourite because at Christmas time we put Santa hats on them. So there's 3 of them. There's 2 males, a female, and it's got a little Joey in its pouch. They're actually created by a New Zealand artist. I realise our kangaroos are created by Kiwi. So the big kangaroos are over on the right, where you can also see the static aircraft display, which is part of Canberra Airport Open Day. If you haven't already, I definitely go check it out. You can go inside the aircraft. And on our right, the first one you can see is the huge C-17 Globemaster III. It's a military aircraft. It's a high-wing, 4-engine, heavy transport aircraft and able to carry 77 tonnes of cargo and can also be converted into a medical rescue aircraft. It's one of the biggest aircraft that we see fairly regularly at Canberra Airport. So behind the Globemaster you can see the 737 and the Dash 8s that I mentioned, and beyond these are aircraft from the Historical Aircraft Restoration Society, or HARS. So there's a C-47, a Catalina, a Caribou and a Convair. Now you can enter the aircraft that are at the static display. Just be aware the HARS aircraft do collect a donation by way of an entry fee. It's pretty small, it's $5 for adults, $2 for children or $10 for families. Beyond the HARS aircraft, we've also got quite a number of general aviation aircraft as well. But we're nearing the end of our tour. Anyone have any questions at all? Is anyone here? Yeah. He's doing a lot, but just one for this tour. Yeah. Right, the kangaroos are there, so that national travel is not needed.
I'm not sure where it's from, actually, no. People say Richard.
这个就是国际了，我。
Anything else?
How many oil airplanes can How big is the whole aircraft carrier? How long?
How many airplanes can it hold when it's full?
How long?
Thôi走啊！
走啊！
走啊！我影埋啲嘢走。啊？影埋啲嘢走。
我们要去窝枕那里拿烟水喝，要不要？